Hey guys, this is Tunas. Welcome to another spot of the week. Today we have an ace queen off, raising in the cutoff for a min raise, facing a 3-bet from the small blinds, and we call. Flop is Jack 5 deuce with 2 clubs. We face a 1/3 bet, and I think we have a mandatory call. Turn is 10 of clubs. My opponent checks, and I think I have an interesting decision right here, whether we want to bet or check. I think this hand probably mixes it up, and I went with a check. River is a nice offsuit king. We face a check. I go with the 3/4 option on the river, and we face a check shove. So do you think with the straight and the flush blocker we have an easy call, or would you consider folding this hand? What sort of bluffs do you think your opponent uses? Please let me know in comments. My thoughts in game were that for me, it's very easy to have a lot of bluffs. Like I'm going to have a big variety of pocket pairs, like basically every 6s through 9s, even some pocket 4s. So there's a lot of hands to choose from to bluff here, potentially, to turn into a bluff, like 6s or 7s. It's pretty easy to overdo it. So I thought that it wouldn't necessarily make a lot of sense for my opponent to turn a hand like ace-jack into a bluff, or a hand like ace-king or queen-king. I thought he would just have like a fairly easy call with those hands. So I thought that this would just be, on this texture versus my range, this would be more value heavy. So this was my thought process in game. So I landed on, maybe very out of character for me, I landed on folding this hand, which seems maybe a bit crazy when we have the nut straight with a flush blocker. But yeah, like I said, I don't expect to see an ace-5 of diamond bluff, and I think those pair plus blocker type of hands just have kind of an easy call. So why turn them into a bluff? That was my thought. So yeah, let's check what the solver says about this hand. So we do see a range bet. We're close to that. Ace queen off, doing pretty much not doing any raising, like only 3%. So even if you flop a set or something, it's just we're going to continue with calling. Turn 10 of clubs. So here we see quite a bit of block betting by my opponent, as well as the 2/3 being used quite a bit, but of course checking a lot too, because he is also just going to have like 6s through 9s. So yeah, it definitely makes sense that he's doing quite a bit of checking here. If you look at some potential river bluffs, it's pretty hard because, these hands are definitely supposed to barrel. So if we look at ace-king with a club, ace-queen with a club, ace-jack with a club, like pretty high barreling frequencies, especially ace-jack, ace of clubs, right? It's just a hand with so much equity that easily wants to get in another bet. Looks like the block sizing is definitely preferred for that one. So he checks. We see ace-queen doing a high amount of betting, but especially with the ace of clubs, it's going to mix between block and half pot, it looks like. And then ace queen with the queen of clubs is doing like roughly 50-50 mix, bit more betting than checking, but mixing it up with all different sizings like block, half pot, 3/4. Apparently they'll make some sense here for us, but especially like block and half pot is kind of what is preferred. And kind of happy to see that my thoughts in game that this would be a mix is accurate. So I went with check, which is definitely a thing. And we see the king of spades river. So again, a card where we're going to see a lot of block betting and quite a bit of 3/4 as well. So let's take a look at that range. So yeah, hands like, ace king is just pure betting. Queen king is close to pure betting. Ace queen is mostly betting. So there's not a whole lot of checking going on with those one pair hands, turning some ace x into a bluff, which makes a lot of sense. Either way, we're going to check. He checks at least. And we have pure bet with ace queen, of course, with the preferred sizing definitely seems to be an overbet here with ace queen with the queen of clubs. So I might be a bit off with my river sizing. 3/4 seems to be a bit too small for having ace queen with a club blocker. So yeah, let's see. Against The 3/4, we kind of see some check shoving going on. But the main thing here, what really stands out, is that ace queen is just supposed to check raise quite often. So we're chopping against quite a bit of his value range, which is interesting. Hands like 9s and 8s being bluffed at a very low frequency. And he's just going to have a variety of slow plays with flushes. Ace king, ace queen of clubs at a lower frequency, and then ace 8, ace 9 of clubs at a much higher frequency. And also some of the lower flushes, like these ones. So yeah, definitely we don't see a lot of bluffs that make sense, right? My thought about ace jack seems kind of accurate. There's pretty much not a ton of reason to turn that into a bluff in this line. Let's check against the bigger sizing. So against the bigger sizing, ace jack off is just going to be more of a fold for non-club hands, and then with a club, it's definitely going to throw out a few raises. Either way, like against an overbet facing a check shove, ace queen is doing quite a bit of folding, but still calling a lot. And 3/4 against shove, ace queen is just pure calling. And the EV of the call is fairly significant, I would say. Like we're calling for 18 big blinds. So yeah, against this strategy, folding ace queen would be kind of a disaster. And if I kind of look at the possible bluffs here, it's still just going to call off ace queen because I think it chops just so often against his overall range. Yes, there is a couple of combinations of flushes, right? But yeah, I think that's just it. There's a couple of flushes out there, but there's also a reasonable amount of hands that could potentially bluff. So I think folding ace queen with a club is probably just a mistake on my part. If my read is right, it still looks to be very close, because if I look at the amount of bluffs in this range, it seems pretty low already. There's a fraction of 9s and 8s. If he never has these bluffs like 9s or 8s with a club, which as you can see, 8s with a club, it's raising 30-35%. So it's pretty high frequency for a hand like 8s. Not sure if people ever make these type of plays. I haven't seen them too often yet. So I think my read could be right, that he's just not going to find enough bluffs. But then even if he slightly under bluffs this spot, we still chop pretty often. So yeah, really close one. I think we're probably better off just bet calling it off with ace queen, queen of clubs, because, every single assumption of mine has to be accurate for this to be a good fold. And I think calling it off can be, worth quite a bit here. So I think a slight mistake by me, but a pretty interesting spot. So please let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys at the next spot of the week.